Star Wars was the second film I saw in the pictures, and the first one was Pete's Dragon. So, you know, not so much sci-fi but fantasy, I suppose. I think it's because there were so many firsts that were in that film. You know, seeing it for the first time and seeing the, you know, seeing the planet and the Tantive 4 going over, and then the Star Destroyer going over that. You know, that's always the thing that, you know, blew my mind. You know, I probably didn't understand it very much when I was that age, but there's certainly the visual aspect of it, lightsabers, blasters, everything like that. Stormtroopers. I must have like nearly 50 helmets in the living room. You know, not just mine. There are from many other companies and many other talented people out there that are making them. Statues, studio scale models, figures, artwork. I mean, I always, again, that fandom affected me in the way of I became an artist first and foremost. I studied at university in fine arts. I went to college and did a graphic design course. Did graphic design for like 2-3 years. Ended up going into another direction, and then came back to working on movie props and making movie props and movie prop replicas. Every day for me is a Star Wars day. You know, I get up, I go to work Star Wars. You know, and even when I'm at home, it's like, you know, I'm either watching a Star Wars TV series or watching another series. It's a similar sort of vein. There's just since videos and since DVDs, Blu-rays, streaming services, there's just a whole plethora of all these things that are out there. I don't think you can ever watch them all, you know, but I try to. Me and my business partner own a company called Aris Prop Masters, and we mainly deal in Star Wars replica props and other things. Like, we've done stuff for the Welsh National Theatre, we've done stuff for movies, and yeah, when things crop up now and again, we'll always have a go at them and do our best to do them. But primarily our stuff is mainly lineage material from Star Wars, and that's because we want it in our own collections. That's the thing for us. If we can, we will go out of our way to bring stuff to the community that possibly they might not be able to get. So I have an original suit that was used on screen in Star Wars. This was given to me by my uncle many years ago. Now it's like, I think it was probably around the sort of mid to late 80s, which by then sort of, you know, Star Wars figures are in the budget bin in you know, your local Tesco's or whatever, or supermarket, so on. And it was sort of forgotten about, and other things were coming along like Back to the Future and stuff like that. Now at that point, I'm still collecting Star Wars figures, and I've been collecting Star Wars figures since, you know, since they came out. My first figure was Walrus Man, in fact, that I bought from a local newsagent around the corner from my nan's, from my pocket money. At the time, there was a company called Lions Ice Creams, and Lions Ice Creams were doing promotion in cinemas for Star Wars. And what we think is, and I remember this from when I went to watch it, is you had a short film, I don't know, something like a Lassie movie or something like that, an intermission to go and get ice creams, and then you get your main film. I mean, this is back when, like, you used to get programs at the cinema and stuff like that. So yeah, you had an intermission, and I remember on the quarter landing in the local Odeon, there was a stormtrooper stood there, a guy in a costume, and I think it's that one. Now, a lot of these were actually borrowed from Lucasfilm and the like. So I turned up one day with it, and it was there, and I was just like, oh my god, and like I didn't know at the time that it was an original suit. It's just a stormtrooper, you know. And then I was in, I think, Scouts, Cubs at the time, I think it was. And they had a fancy dress night there for the Cubs, and I think there was a brownie together with this sort of fancy dress night. I wore the Stormtrooper and I didn't win the competition, so yeah. And I mean, movie props now are there's a whole industry behind it, but back then it was like, you talk to Brian and you hear some of the stories, like when Aliens was being made, and all right, they finished that, so they start just tearing it down and then chucking it in the car park until and get on with the next thing, you know. And that's what it was. It was a means to an end. You know, you've shown your piece on the cinema or whatever, and then on to the next thing. I hardly think that even George Lucas himself would have thought that, you know, this. I think he was just thinking this was going to be a one-off. You can see the influences of Star Wars in pretty much anything. I'm sure there are references to other films which are in Star Wars, but there isn't a time when I can sit down at home, flip through the TV and go, find something where someone is going, I'm your father, or you know, these aren't the droids you're looking for, move along. There'll be these little things you'll see in TV programs, and advertising as well. It's impacted on our culture in and I don't think there's any other film or franchise that will ever impact our culture like that. Because you've got to remember, we had the cinema, right, and we had TV. 3 channels over there we had. That was it, right? We didn't have cable. We didn't have streaming services or nothing. You didn't have all these different franchises or anything like that. It was the first to do it, and I think that's why it's had such an impact. I mean, we were geeks at school. You know, no one wanted to talk to us. You know, we were like I think there was only the chess club that were like lower than us. You know, Doctor Who fans. So it's like, you know, we were like the lowest of the low, and then you've got now that whole thing has become, I don't know, it's changed. I mean, you've got things like the Big Bang Theory for one that are giving that stereotypical geek view its own fandom. And they were very clever in the way that they did that by bringing in people from Star Trek, from Star Wars, and other franchises, you know, just to make brief cameos and appearances. But you know, you've got so many great stories and great storytellers out there that are bringing new things to the big screen and the small screen, because the small screen is these days has as big a budget and has as big a, you know, headliners in front of the camera and behind the camera. Yeah, good to be the geek. Yeah.